Hi, welcome to the A Quilting Life podcast. I'm Sherri McConnell.
And I'm Chelsi Stratton.
And this is episode 28. It is airing on Monday, May 17th, 2021.
Episode 28.
Episode 28, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, we were actually just talking a few minutes ago that our next episode will hit right at the year mark. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about that at the end of this episode. So,
isn't that so crazy?
Yes. Yeah. Every other week for a whole year.
And we've stuck with it. I feel like that's like really cool that this is something that has really grown and been a positive experience.
Yes. I was actually reading over comments from the last episode today, and I noticed a couple people who said, oh, now that everything's opening up, we hope you don't stop. So we are not stopping. We just want to reassure you that
that makes me feel good.
Going to keep doing this. So
yeah, it's a pretty big accomplishment to do a podcast for a year.
Yeah,
really?
A lot of podcasts will die off short of that, at least keeping it consistent. So I'll have some more, I guess, stats and some things to share in our year anniversary podcast too about the podcast, I guess.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, that'll be great.
It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun.
We might have to have a special treat, something to eat for that.
I got one.
Okay.
I'll bring it.
Okay. You got it then.
I know what you like.
Okay. Okay, well, let's get started. The quilt on the wall is my Balboa quilt. It's made with our Clover Hollow collection. It's actually a layer cake quilt. And the reason I hung it on the wall is because Billy and I are going to film a curved piecing tutorial for that. Look for that sometime in June.
That's going to be a good one.
So, yeah. So I was thinking about that tutorial and got that quilt out today. And then on the table is Beach House. This is with our Summer Sweet collection. And it's a charm pack and a jelly roll quilt. So it goes together really quickly because so much of your cutting is already done for you. And it makes a really big, pretty good sized quilt too.
Yeah, that one's so cute. I still have to ask you, oh my goodness, these little 9 patches on Balboa are so tiny. You had to have strip pieced those.
Strip piecing makes it go really
they're all perfect.
So I don't know about all of them, but
the finished size of them is like oh my goodness.
They're super cute.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because this was made in our Clover Hollow collection, which was all the way back in Portland when we showed this.
It's crazy how long.
It's so crazy how long it's been.
Yeah. Chelsi and I actually both got fabric this week that we won't be able to share with you until August.
I was wondering if you were going to bring that up. I wrote it down on the What's New section.
Did you? Yeah.
So I know we said this about Sincerely Yours.
Right.
It was different and fun. You guys are going to love this next collection. When we get the strike-offs, they really are not the final finished product because, they're just sending you, a specific type of material that it's on. And then when they actually print all the fabrics after you've chosen, what you want in the collection, it's on, that really nice, beautiful fabric, quilting fabric. The colors are stunning. Yeah. It's just happy.
It's fun.
And when we get it, we just want to show you all right away and we can't. But I'm going to have so much fun sewing with it. It's beautiful. My kids Ashton was like, oh, that is so pretty. I'm like, I know.
And it's really cool because this might be the earliest we've ever gotten fabric for a collection. And so I feel like I'm just really going to be able to savor
and
enjoy it. I won't be in such a rush to sew everything. I can just take my time and just really love sewing with it. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
So
Happy Days wasn't even this early last year. We got the fabric really, and even my backings came today. I was going to tell you.
Oh, good. Yeah, mine came too.
Yeah, I was really, really excited about that. But,
good.
So just keep that in mind for future. We wish we could share it with you, but the fabric is going to be really, really fun. And, something really, really cool.
Really, really fun at the end of summer. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we will be working on this summer. Just a preview.
Yeah.
I wanted to also just really quickly mention this book will pop a picture of it, but Martingale sent it to me to review. It's called Simple Whatnots 2 by Kim Deal. And it's just a really fun book of small quilts and table runners, table toppers, wall hangings. And I can't wait to make some of these quilts with our new fabric. As I was going through the book, I got it about the same time I got our fabric.
I might have to take a peek.
Yeah, it's a really fun book.
I saw you post about it on social media.
Yeah. So I posted on my blog and my Instagram about it too. But yeah, I just want to mention that. And then one more thing. I finished this book this last week, Effortless.
Of course you finished it already.
By Greg McCune. Such a good book. Highly recommend it. I know it's not quilting related, but if you liked his book, Essentialism, you will love this book. It's already a New York Times bestseller as well. And if Essentialism talks to you about priorities, this one talks to you about simplifying. And just had to mention that. Just love that book.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well.
Oh, there's something I want to talk about that we've gotten so many questions about.
Oh, I know what this is.
Okay, so we talked about foods last time. A lot of people I'm just going to mention it real quick. A lot of people had questions about my stroganoff recipe. So you will be able to find that on my blog today as a PDF download. So for those of you who have been wanting it. So, yeah, we'll have Billy do a link for it so that you can find it easily. But, yeah, just really quick, and we'll go straight into our listener questions because
awesome.
I know a lot of people had comments about that.
Awesome. Yes, I've had some direct questions to me about it, too. So,
and by friends.
And from friends. And I actually want it, too. I haven't had your version of it.
Yeah, so. Mine's a little different.
Yeah.
Mine's a little different.
Yeah, so that'll be good.
I've tweaked it over the years.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start off, before we get into the listener questions, I was actually listening to the American Patchwork and Quilting Podcast this morning while I was doing some sewing, and they had a really nice feature on there where all of the editors did a short little segment about how their quilting styles have changed over the years. And it was really fascinating, especially since I know almost all of them personally, and so it was really fun to hear how their quilting styles changed. And I just thought it'd be fun if we started out with that today too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you want me to go first?
You take the lead.
Okay, I'll take the lead because I listened to that other podcast. And actually, we'll put a link to that episode of American Patchwork and Quilting Podcast. We'll put a link to that as well if you want to go listen to what the editors had to say about this. But
yeah,
when I started quilting, I mentioned before the first large quilt I made was for Billy, actually, for the Eleanor Burns Quilt in a Day double Irish chain in blue, green, and white. But most of my other quilting at that time, I was actually doing a lot of little quilts from the book by that name, and I was using mostly my grandmother's fabric. So
I remember
lots of, she liked darker colors, browns, greens, reds.
Deep reds.
Deep, darker colors. Today, I would probably compare it to maybe, Kansas Troubles type color family that my grandmother really loved.
Yeah.
So a lot of my early projects were with those types of fabrics. And I was kind of venture off a little bit brighter than her and put a little bit of more bright colors in there. But yeah, when I first started sewing, it's really interesting because I remember, and one of the editors, I can't remember which one, talked about it, but I remember the first charm pack that I bought. It was so cool because I had seen fat quarter bundles and they were so expensive. But then it was like, oh, if you buy this charm pack, you get one of every print. And
That's so true.
It was just enlightening to have the whole collection. And so I feel like I bought a lot of charm packs back in the day.
Yeah.
And I'm still pretty eclectic. I bought a lot of different styles. I used Thimbleberries fabrics, if anyone remembers those, Lynette Jensen. I used her fabrics. I bought Fig Tree early on in the day when she was a new designer, Sandy Gervais. I bought some of her fabric. I just kind of was all over the place. I remember when Kate Spain became a Moda designer, and here was this modern fabric.
Yeah.
Bought hers.
I fell in love with her stuff early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original, Amy Butler, I loved Amy Butler fabric, and Sandy Henderson, and just lots of really, really bright fabrics. And then I feel like I went through my Bonnie and Camille phase where I just, had to have every collection that they did, and Minnick Simpson. I just kind of went through designers and just really explored with all of them.
Which is probably why you have such a great stash.
I don't know. but I do feel like I appreciate and love all of the, a variety of different designers. But as far as, and this is something interesting too, I started out making a lot of small projects because they were less expensive. And then I feel like I went through this phase where I was making bed quilts and big projects. And now I like doing a variety just for interest.
Yeah.
So, and it was interesting because in that other podcast, you'll have to go listen to it, but a lot of them express the same thing, how they like doing smaller projects now because they've made tons and tons of big quilts.
Yeah.
And they can try more things if they make smaller projects.
I like that you can try more things is one of the reasons, because that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be able to do a wider variety of things by working with small projects.
Right. So, and basically today I feel like our fabrics are kind of a culmination of the journey with a mixture of brights and soft things and florals.
I was going to say my journey is quite different because it just recently started.
Right.
But also the first time I quilted, I didn't take to it. And so I'm going to add that to part of mine and say I enjoy quilting now. But I think I remember my first quilt market was when we actually presented our very first fabric line. And I really was so overwhelmed by everything that was at market that I was just like, I love this and I love this and I love this. But I will say this, when Mom, you obviously were sewing for people and working for different people and, collaborating on different projects before the fabric design started.
Right.
And so my love for fabric kind of started there. And most of my projects in the beginning were made with Bonnie and Camille fabrics. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I thought it was really happy and joyful. And I think what has changed, and then I just fell in love with Fig Tree, everything. Mm-hmm. But I think what has changed for me as I've been quilting more and designing more is we have very flowy, whimsical designs with a modern twist. And so that's how I would say I've grown is I was actually looking at the fabric lines today because they're all lined up on my top shelf. And we've grown so much since the very first collection in a positive way. Not that anything was wrong with any of the other collections. It's just, It is nice to see the growth.
Right. You can definitely see that.
Yeah, you can see that it's our fabrics. And I really love sewing with our fabrics. Like I messaged Mom today, I'm designing the next fabric line, and it is so happy. It's exactly what I want to be doing.
It's a fun color palette.
It's a really fun color palette. And I feel really, really confident in just being able to know what I like now. I feel like before it was like, but I like a little bit of the, you're testing the waters. And I feel like that's where I've grown is sometimes it can be daunting when you first start quilting. And that's why I love the listener questions is, you're like, they have questions about contrast and they have, well, what about a scrap quilt? And that's where I was. That was me. Like, I didn't know. I just tested and played around with it. And so I think that has all been, and I feel like that's maybe why I feel so at home with this community here and answering listener questions, because those are the exact same questions I had.
Yeah. That's
so
a
I
good
feel
point.
like that's like my growth and my journey and how I've changed. But yeah, hopefully that made sense, you guys.
Yeah, no, super fun to listen to, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, that was really fun. So because I got to hear all those other ones today and now yours, and it made me think about mine. So yeah, so we're going to jump into the listener questions now. And the first two came in through my email from Sherri with a Y. And we'll just jump right into those.
I thought you just spelled your name wrong.
No. Oh, no.
I was like, why did she spell her name with a Y on the bottom?
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry.
Yep, this is a listener question. So she said, first, when you get a directional fabric that seems to be printed a little off grain, do you cut it so it appears straight, or do you keep it on the grain when you cut and ignore the slanting print? And I know what she's talking about. It can be frustrating if you are trying to have something look straight and it's actually not technically straight on the fabric as it's printed. And I've actually done both. If I have enough fabric, I've sometimes turned it and cut it so it appears straight.
Yeah.
If I don't have enough fabric, you
just let it go.
Let it go.
When I read that, I was thinking of what you would say. And I'm like, she would try. Like, if she had enough fabric, she would totally. But me, where I'm totally, and this is me, I just don't like to waste like any tiny piece or anything. Yeah. I'm just like, I would let it go, but I totally understand. Like, I'm also the person that's like, that's not straight. That's not lined up. That doesn't look right. Like, so that's interesting to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, that was a good question. Her next question, she said, I love this because I think we've all been there. Every quilter.
The end part of her question is exactly what got.
Yeah. So she said, how do you get yourself to break open a pre-cut bundle? I have all kinds of pre-cuts still in the packaging. Or tied up as a bundle. I'm torn between keeping them together so I can make a project with that fabric collection, but I don't have the project determined yet, or opening them all up and sorting them by color or style with all the others of that size. Is one of these options better or just personal preference? I feel like this indecision keeps me from using the fabrics, and they're too pretty to have them sit all bundled up, never getting used. Any tips for how to take a pack or bundle and get myself to use it or incorporate it into my stash? I think there must be something psychological about taking apart a pretty pre-cut bundle.
And it is. It's psychological. It messes with your head. You're like, I can't open that. That's too beautiful of a specimen of fabric. Like,
right. Or what if I forget what that is?
Yeah, totally.
In the past, I thought, what if I forget who designed this?
Yeah. And it's just, that's so daunting to just like open it up. But I think in part she kind of answered some of her own questions. There's a few ways you can do this. If you really don't want to open the bundle, you don't have to open the bundle.
Yeah.
But I will sometimes separate. One time I had a bunch of bundles and I'm like, what am I going to do about this? And I separated them by color groups. I had a bunch of fat quarter bundles and I just separated them pinks, blues, greens, oranges. And it was so fun because I ended up making an amazing fall Halloween inspired quilt using a bunch of basic gray, Bonnie and Camille, our summer sweet orange. Like, it was really, really fun.
Yeah.
It's also okay to just wait for the perfect project. Like, say you're just waiting for the right pattern. Like, you are going to open it up, but also don't, if you have a perfect pattern in mind, just open. It's totally worth it. Open it up and use it. Yeah. And a lot of times fat quarter bundles can be used for more than one project. Always.
That's so true. You could do two really nice size
quilts with a fat quarter bundle. So it's not, you don't have to, just use it for one. Right. But, and maybe, just, set a goal to pick a special project by a certain time. And fabric, if you love it that much, I would definitely open it up and use it to make a quilt that you love, that is going to get used. Yeah. Those would be my suggestions. Yeah. I have a Denise Schmidt jelly roll that I haven't opened. And I've had it. How many years? Oh, it has to be 10. I mean, a flea market
fancy. I don't know. It has to be. And it's not a jelly roll because she wasn't with Moda. She was with Free Spirit, but whatever they call their little rolls. But it's still there. But you know what? I have made lots of quilts with her fabrics.
Yeah, you have tons of projects.
And so I feel like it's okay to leave that. Maybe someday I will open it up. I don't know.
It is psychological. If you don't want to open it up, you don't have to.
Right.
But it does mess with you.
Right.
When she said that, I was like, she gets it.
Yes.
She's spot on.
Yeah. No, but then there is the example of Susan Aki, who immediately every fat quarter bundle she gets, she opens it up. Yeah. She separates it by color and adds it into her amazing stash.
And she creates beautiful, beautiful projects with so many different fabrics. It's incredible.
And she does a lot of things by color.
Yeah.
So there are both options. I try it both ways and see what you think, I guess.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give you a break from answering some of the questions.
Okay. Or from reading them.
From reading them. I'm sorry. Yes, don't answer anything anymore. From Jillian, do you stick with particular styles of fabric when choosing backgrounds for a scrap quilt? For example, all reproduction backgrounds in a reproduction scrap quilt. I think that's awesome if you want to do that, but you don't have to. If you find a background that works with your reproduction fabrics, I say use it.
Yeah, I think I'll go more with matching the color.
Yes. You need to match the color.
Than the style of fabric. So
yeah.
For example, a lot of Minnick and Simpson backgrounds work really well with reproduction quilts, primitive gatherings. They're not considered reproductions, but their colors work well with some of those other collections. So I will, the color, I feel like, and how it looks with the other fabrics determines it more than the category or genre that it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These next few ones are from Jillian. Mm-hmm. How do you control the busyness? Would you mix shirting prints with floral or vine prints?
Absolutely. I
think that's totally fine. Yeah. I know what she's saying though. Like some of those shirting prints are like very, I can see how you might think that it would create busyness in a quilt. If you're really, really bothered by it, add space with sashing and stuff like that. If you're really bothered by that, but they're fine, going together, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then this next one kind of goes with the first one she asked. Do you mix cream, white, and beige backgrounds? Someone said in a class once, don't mix cream and white together. I have a story about this.
Okay.
Our friend, Vanessa Gertzen, calls me one day, and she says, you're not going to believe this. I have to restart this quilt that I've been working on. She sent me a picture. She had accidentally mixed a bleached white with an ivory type porcelain color. Now, in a quilt like that, it was so noticeable.
Right.
It was just like...
If there's a lot, big pieces of background fabric.
Yes, and that's what it was. And I felt so terrible. And she did. She needed to, pick out the pieces that, a lot of times you can get away with quilt surgery is what I call it. But on that note, I may need to pull up a picture of this. My second Stars and Stripes quilt I mixed Bonnie and Camille fabrics with ours, and I did mix ivories with her white, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so that is one rare example, I would say, where you can mix them. Normally, I would say no.
Yeah, I feel like the scrappier the quilt, the more you can mix them.
Yes, and it was definitely scrappy, and it's gorgeous. But yeah, on something that is set in stone, like Vanessa's pattern at the time, it doesn't work.
Right. Or if you have 12 blocks and 11 of them are ivory and one's cream
and everyone's
or
like,
white.
What?
Yeah. Then, So I feel like the more that you have going on, the more you can mix them.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, and I have a scrappy pineapple quilt and that scrappy log cabin quilt, and there are varying shades of backgrounds in there, and it works fine because there are so many colors.
Yeah, and I think my reasoning for sharing those two stories is because I don't want it to scare people off from mixing them up. There's just specific times when you would do it. Like you said, your pineapple quilt, my Stars and Stripes one. So yeah.
Yeah.
It can really give a cool effect when it is scrappy. So
right.
There's that. Okay, Jillian's last question is, I think sometimes quilts can be too coordinated and lack sparkle. How do you avoid that happening? I see what she's saying. I mean, these all kind of go together. I mean, a lot of people like just having, you want to know it, they see a quilt, they're like, I want to buy that fabric, that pattern, that's how I want to make it. And a lot of people like that.
Well, and because that lets them enjoy the process
yes.
of quilting and you don't have to think about.
Yeah,
so
totally.
It's very enjoyable if you take out the equation of worrying about coordinating things.
Totally. But I also think if you don't want your quilt to be too coordinated, that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. That's totally fine. You know?
I think Joanna Figueroa used to say she has an 80-20 rule. And if you look at a lot of her quilts, you know, of course she makes quilts with her collections, but then she'll often remake the same pattern mixing her collections.
Yes.
Like 80% from one collection and throw in 20%.
She does a great job at that.
Prints from another. So I feel like I learned that from her. And, you know, I really like mixing our collections too. So it's really fun.
Sure.
It does add a little extra oomph, I guess. So, okay, I'll ask a few questions now. This one I'm going to read this one, answer it, and then I've got something else that goes with it.
Yes, I know what you're going to do.
At the end. Okay.
Yeah.
So she said, I am a relatively new quilter and wonder if you use a solid white background fabric. Do you use a bleached white batting or a natural tone? I've heard that natural can make the white appear yellowish. And yes, I like the warm and white much better than the warm and natural if I'm using a light background.
Yes.
So you kind of agree with that?
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's what our quilter uses. So
yeah. And then I had another question. I didn't actually write it down, but I emailed Carrie Nelson at Moda today to get her answer on this. We've been asked it before, but I've received 2 or 3 more emails. And so what they were asking is they were worried about the Moda Bella 97, and because it is that they're worried that it absorbs colors.
Yes, easier
than other fabrics. Right.
Yeah.
So I wrote to Carrie today, and she was so good to get right back to me.
She had a very thorough answer. I was very impressed.
I'm just going to read her answer about this.
Awesome.
So, and so this is just in Carrie's words. She said, the first thing I always reply to people when they ask about this is not to worry. Many quilters have used Bella 97 without problems, even when other fabrics in the quilt have highly saturated colors. But there are some precautions quilters should take. Bella 97 is marked PFD, prepared for dyeing. So yes, that is what that PFD means. It means that it doesn't have some of the finishing steps that Bella 98 does, or Bella 200 or Bella 60. Bella 98 and the other finished fabrics get chemical processes that minimize the fabric's ability to absorb excess dye. So yeah, she explained that so well, and it's true. Yeah. But she said if someone has made a quilt with Bella 97, they should wash those quilts with color catchers and dye magnets. Some people also like using Synthropol, which I had never heard of Synthropol before.
I hadn't either.
Yeah, so she says it's a liquid detergent used as a pre-wash and after-wash for dyed or painted fabrics, and as a wetting agent for fabric dyes and paints. It has the unique property of keeping loose dye suspended during washing, thus preventing backstaining while aiding in the removal of excess color. So I learned about that today. And then she mentioned...
She was so good about
this. This is so interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, she said the other thing to be aware of is high-efficiency washers. I never...
Which most people have those. I
think they're pretty popular today.
A lot of people are going to those, which is what I mean.
Yeah. So she said less water means that whatever dye is in the water is more concentrated.
That makes total sense.
Thought about
I'm like,
that.
this is like a science project.
Yeah. Yeah, so she said that everything she's read and has been able to find suggests that after the first couple of washings, there's less of a concern, but she uses a color catcher
every time,
and we do that too. Yeah. So, and then she gave me a blog post that she wrote about this, and we will link that.
Yes, that you can go back and read this, because that was a lot of information.
Yeah, and so she also said if you really like Bella 97 and you're concerned about it, look at Bella 436, and it's a super white, and it has a bright white similar to 97.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't even know about that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Carrie.
That
was awesome. She really went all the way with the answer for that question.
Well, yeah, and I thought if I didn't hear back from her today, we could use it for the next episode, but I'm glad that I got the response. Okay,
so just a couple more questions.
Number 8?
Number 8.
Right?
Yeah. Do you have assistance with your Etsy shops or with pattern testers? It's amazing how much you accomplish. I don't. It's all me and my family, and my comment that I wrote down was all this mama right here, because that's how I feel. I feel like I'm like, and it's not just that either. It's simultaneously while doing the dishes and the laundry and all this stuff. But I don't, and I haven't used pattern testers, but Lisa Alexander just brought up how, did you see that on the Moda page?
Oh, no.
You see a lot of designers who maybe don't design fabric. You send out their pattern to multiple people as pattern testers. And on the day of their pattern release, Instagram is flooded with all of these pattern testers sharing their new pattern. And it's a great way to reach a lot of different people with your new pattern. I thought that was really cool. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we both have someone who looks over our patterns, and I feel like that really helps. So
yeah. I do need to mention that.
Yes,
because
so we both have Natalie.
Yeah, we both have Natalie Crabtree. She is wonderful. I cannot say enough good about her and her husband. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, I need to shout out her because
it's super helpful.
Is wonderful.
Yeah, it gives me some peace of mind that somebody else is doing the math. And
when you are doing that much work, we are all human. You are going to miss things, and it just is so. Yeah, it gives you peace of mind for another person to read over your, everything and help you with that, because it just would not be doable.
Right. With getting our fabric this early too, it's really a blessing, because the way I work is I go ahead and write out my pattern, and then I follow my pattern as I sew, and then I can make notes. And when I don't have time, I don't do that. But we have 2.5 months to get this sewing done. So I am going to just do that, and I feel like that's going to really help with the accuracy of the patterns.
Yeah.
Okay.
But don't you get help from like your daughter from packaging things? And then same with you, Mom, with
my younger brother.
He's been packing patterns.
Well, and then also Dad is sort of the runner to and from the post office.
Yeah, my husband does all. In fact, I went to the post office today, but it was the first time in a week. So
you want to know what? Yeah, now I'm feeling really guilty. Thank you, Billy. I do have to admit, my oldest will pack patterns for me. She'll just do the bags, and I do compensate her.
Yes.
And then my husband is really, really helpful on Mondays with shipping. He has Mondays off, and so it's kind of gives me a breather, because Mondays are my go-getter days. Like I'm trying to get a lot of things done, and so yeah, thank you for reminding me.
I had to stick up for the men.
Yeah, he does have to stick up for them.
I actually this week it was just a busy week. We had all of these things to turn in, and I had some edits to do on some things for later, and so at the beginning of the week I just said I am only going to ship Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that was so nice. I only shipped Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, I feel like there's an urgency when you get an order. You're like, I gotta ship this now, so it's out of my queue. And I get someone their pattern, who's supporting me, and it's okay to take a breather one day.
And may not do that every week, but it was nice on a busy week to just do that. So, okay.
Our husbands are going to be listening to this and being like, yeah, you better shout us out. Like,
they better buy my next round of golf for supporting them.
Yeah, just number 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It says, and I love this one. Do you have plans to teach your children to sew or quilt? Have they shown interest? And my answer is for my oldest, yes. She's more than ready. I think she's been ready. But as soon as everything shut down, I realized my mom had taken my machine, my travel machine to get cleaned. And that was the machine I was going to give to Ashton.
Right.
And it did not work. And I think he gave me the wrong pedal back with it.
So you still haven't been up there?
I still haven't been up there. And literally Ashton is like, Mom, like, can you fix this for me? She is more than ready. And actually I need to get her started now so she can like be my little helper even more.
If I go up there, I'll get your machine.
Yeah, because I had a really, really old one. And I think he just either like replaced it and realized it wasn't the right one.
Right.
Or just mixed it up. And so, yeah.
Oh, that's
But yeah, she is really excited to start sewing, and I can't wait for her to start sewing.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good mix of questions.
I know. Thank you so much for giving us really great listener questions.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. We're kind of gonna brainstorm together and try to come up with some fun stuff for the year anniversary podcast episode. I can't even express how grateful we are for this past year and everyone who has just been so supportive. We're trying to come up with some fun things for it. So,
and we'll definitely be doing some part of in the beginning of August, we'll definitely be doing a live stream trunk show, but we'll probably do another live stream sometime in the summer before that too.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
So, I thought it went great.
Yeah. So we're going to have a little powwow as soon as it's summertime and just kind of go over some content ideas, and feel free to share any of your suggestions as always. So anything you wanted to add, Billy?
I think we're
going to be brainstorming, Billy.
Yeah, I'm going to have more time in the summer too, so I wanted to help come up with some stuff. So
Yay.
It should be good. Some good stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, Chelsea and we have some June 1st deadlines, and then
that's what I'm going to go back home and do.
Right.
I have not stopped working.
Yes, so
we have some fun things we're working on, so can't talk about them, but they're exciting.
Right. So, okay, well, our next episode is going to be May 31st, which is Memorial Day. We talked about that before we started, but I think we're going to go ahead and air it that day, right, Billy?
Yeah. I think it'll be good.
Keep it on the Monday. And
keep it on a Monday.
If you don't listen to Monday, it'll be there Tuesday.
It'll be there Tuesday.
It'll be there waiting for you guys.
Yeah, and June 1st was our first episode ever in 2020, right?
Yeah, so it'll literally be the 365th day.
Yes.
Right? Oh, my goodness.
Wow. That's so fun.
That's crazy. Thank you for, I will say this before we get into more stats next episode, but it's definitely grown, and our last episode was the most downloads that we've gotten so far. Well, in a week period.
Oh, in a week period. Okay, that's cool.
That's where it's judged. So, but I'll give some more statistics and things next week briefly.
Okay, cool.
That sounds great.
Billy will have the report.
Yes. Well, thanks so much for stopping by.